Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CICE Community Conversations. My name is Dr. Andrew Gonzalez, and as always, I'm joined here by Ashley Jones, our community partner specialist here at CICE. Now, over the past month, we've had the pleasure of bringing you this weekly series and a fun, interactive experience to connect you with our office, and most importantly, our many community partners who have teamed up with Cal State Fullerton to offer students virtual partnerships during this pandemic. And today we have another long term and valued partner joining us to tell you about opportunities at our site. But first, I want to let you know what we'll be taking a brief break over the summer. I'll be transitioning to assist another campus department with their staffing needs. And in the meantime, Ashley will be your main go to person for all things internship. She'll also be planning some new engagement opportunities for you during this coming year to ensure that you're in the know about the plethora of partners and the immense internship postings for you to explore. So, in case you're new to our page in this live Facebook series, Cal State Fullerton, along with the other 22 CSU campuses, have transitioned to not only virtual only instruction, but also virtual internships for the fall, as guided by state and local public health orders. Now, that simply means that if you're choosing to do an academic internship, which is simply an internship for college credit during the fall 2020 term, it would need to be via virtual technologies. Now, these are sometimes referred to as remote internships, or virtual internships. They're a type of remote internship, if you will. These typically involve, working from home. You'll still receive meaningful training and feedback from your supervisors, but it's all done from the safety of your own home, your computer and internet device. So, believe it or not, we've actually had a chance to cultivate over 500 virtual internship experiences for students enrolled in many of our campus departments and programs. So, be assured that there are ample opportunities out there for you, and that number increases daily. Now, we do want you to know how to find these great experiences. And the best way to do that is simply to visit the Career Center's website, www.fullerton.edu/career. And if you go to the upper left-hand side under For Students, you'll find Titan
Okay,
Connection.
that's gonna
Go
record
ahead and
that thing.
select on Find Internships through Titan Connection. You'll have to log in through your Cal State Fullerton portal. But once you're in, I want you to take a look at this now. And immediately, once you get in, boom, here we go. You're going to see COVID-19 virtual approved internships, COVID-19 approved internships. You can also find them on the top left-hand side under jobs. Just simply click on that button and then you'll scroll down and you'll find the same thing, COVID-19 approved internships. So that's kind of neat. And all that's available now. And as the term goes on, you'll have many more opportunities to find more and more internships. And again, we want you to know that these opportunities are added daily. So keep checking back. Now, if you have any questions regarding virtual internships, or whether or not to find them, or if you have questions for our guests during this afternoon, don't hesitate to just type them down in the comment section and we'll address them live here during the broadcast. Feel free to also let us know you're here and share any thoughts you might have along the way. Well, with that said, Ashley, can you tell us about our guest community partner for this week?
I can. Very excited this week to bring on Justine Palmore. Justine is the executive director for StandUp for Kids. And StandUp for Kids has been a longtime partner for Cal State Fullerton, and has taken on many interns every semester. And we actually were talking earlier, Justine was sharing that there are over about 40 Cal State Fullerton interns that are going to be taking part in internships this fall. So they're an amazing organization. It's actually a nationwide nonprofit aimed at addressing the issue of youth homelessness. So through mentoring, through outreach, working with local school districts, this nonprofit does great work for our community and is able to bring on an array of different Cal State Fullerton interns. So we're very excited to bring on Justine to tell us a lot more about what the organization is, what interns do at the site, and anything and everything in between. So I think, Andrew, you were going to kick us off with the first question for Justine.
Well, Justine, with that said, and Ashley, she really did a neat overview, but let's hear it from you. Tell us about your organization, Stand Up for Kids.
So thank you for having me today. So a little bit about us. We're a 30-year-old national nonprofit. We've been in Orange County for 17 years. We're fully self-supporting, and what that means is we raise 100% of our budget locally, and our money stays here locally. We have 4 core pillars of service, and our mission is to end the cycle of youth homelessness. So what does that mean? Well, our 4 pillars are street outreach, where we actually go out into the street, find the kids, and meet them where they're at. And the goal of that is to connect them with local resources with the hope of getting them into either our mentoring program or into one of our outreach centers, so that we can move them from crisis to stability. We do mentoring, and we do mentoring in a lot of different ways. So one way is we have an after-school program in Anaheim, and with 12 to 18-year-olds, and the goal is to help them with homework and life skills, and give them a place that's safe for them to go to after school. And then we have our in-school programs. So we're in the Huntington Beach and the Anaheim Union School District. We are in the process of working with Santa Ana School District and Irvine School Districts to bring a program called RMTS. And I was telling Ashley, that is mentoring, but for age appropriate. So these are high schoolers that have short of credits to graduate or truancies, and our goal there is to get them back into the mainstream so they can graduate. And then we have outreach centers. So we have 4 locations throughout the county that we see kids. So 3 of those centers are for 18 to 24-year-olds, and they usually would go once a week at night for mentoring, dinner, and to meet with their mentors. And then we have 1 center, the after school program in Anaheim. The program on the screen is the school shot was one of the in-school programs, and this shot now is our our 18 to 24-year-olds, and that center is in Huntington Beach. And this is our Anaheim center in Anaheim, 12 to 18-year-olds, and those are just some volunteers. And we also do housing. And so our housing, we have 3 different kinds of housing: transitional housing, emergency, which is, hotel, until we can get them into some kind of stable arrangement. And then we just started with rapid rehousing. So we have several emergency solutions grants that let us place young adults into housing if they qualify. And so it's a program where we give financial assistance while they get up to speed and they're able to take on their rent payments. So it's a graduated model.
Awesome. I thought you were going to keep going. It seemed like the list is never ending of everything that your organization does. That's incredible. So with everything under the umbrella, like you have just talked about, and you had told us earlier, and we mentioned before, that you have so many opportunities for Cal State Fullerton students. So can you tell us a little bit more about specifically what kind of opportunities Stand Up for Kids has for interns, and maybe what those internships might look like for students?
So when I started as an intern. And so I started as a human service major. So we host human services, public health, we host psychology majors and child adolescent studies, and we give them field experience working with the youth and helping them navigate kind of what parents would normally be teaching their young adults, how to driver's license, how to apply for college, and those kind of things. And then we also have interns that work in our communications department. And those interns work in advocacy. So they could work in government advocacy. They could work in PR, marketing, general communications, and they're writing newsletters. They're going out interviewing kids. Some of them do video, and some of them are doing all of our social media. So we have all the platforms, and they manage that, and they meet as part of the communications team every week. So we're a functioning business. So they supplement they help our staff, and allow us to execute our mission.
Well, that's great. And because you have so many of these students, and not just students, because of the staff, and I know you're very much involved with your work, Justine, and you could tell that heart passion for helping children and kids and teens dealing with difficult times in their lives. Tell us how the virtual experience works for you. What's your experience managing with the COVID-19 circumstances, with this pandemic, managing virtual internships? What would it be like if I was a student and I was coming in wondering what would virtual internships look like with Stand Up for Kids?
So we just finished our first cohort with virtual interns for the summer, and we're getting the feedback now for the exit surveys. And so far, they're really excellent, results and feedback. We paired each intern with another intern so they would motivate each other and hold each other accountable. They worked on a project for the semester. And when I say project, they had the full semester to come together to, on their schedules and do a project that would be used in the field. So, for example, we had interns do a back to work site plan for our office with the government standards that they've put out for safety and cleanliness. It was a public health intern. He happened to have experience doing these kind of plans, and him and his partner created this whole plan for us, which we're going to use, right? And then we had interns do a mental health wellness survey. And so different tools that we can use in the field. And so along with their buddy, they manage this. We had weekly meetings with the group and with their supervisor. So they spent time in their cohort discussing the projects, learning from each other, giving feedback to each other, getting feedback from their supervisors, and then working in the field as well. So they would meet with their mentee and another volunteer and do mentoring and case navigation. So kind of case management. And then we had our virtual communications people that a similar format. They met every Friday. They planned all the communications according to our fundraising schedule, and they wrote, edited, and worked with their director that is managing them to execute all of our platforms.
Wow. That's great. It seems like interns across the board are all being able to work on really hands-on, tangible projects that are being implemented. That's amazing to hear.
So one really cool project that I love was an intern in the communications department. Actually, I think it's 2 interns. They did a 10-series pilot for us on a podcast. So it's not a visual like this one, but it's going to be a podcast, and we'll release them all on like Spotify or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Great. That's so cool. I'm so excited to hear that, and when it comes out, it'll be so fun to listen to. So earlier you talked about what experiences you have to offer, and I heard communications, public relations, marketing, human services, psychology, public health, all those under the field. So if you're a student out there and that's your major, listen up to what we're going to talk about next, because there are so many opportunities available for you. And Justine, I know you had mentioned too that you are such a popular site for our students, for students out there looking for academic internships, that you have actually had to start selecting students through an application process. So say if I was a Cal State Fullerton student in one of those departments and I'm interested in an opportunity with you, what are ways that I can stand out as an applicant, whether it's through that application, maybe through a resume or an interview over the phone or Zoom? What are some tips that you can give to students who are looking for opportunities at your site?
I think the ones that stand out, especially in the communications area, are ones that their cover letter is well written. They send us a copy, a sample of their writing, so we can see how creative they are. If they're in their interview, if they're bubbly and motivated, like I can do it, and they're outgoing, those kind of people in the communications area definitely will stand out. For human services, I think for human services and public health, I think it's the same thing. Who's motivated? You can kind of gauge leaders when you're talking to them. There's just something about their communication style, and how they follow up as well. Like I'll have people say, "Hey, what's the next step?" Inquire, "Where's my application? Am I selected?" Ask questions.
I think that's sometimes something that students are kind of worried about, and even just people in general looking for jobs, where you send the application out, or maybe you have that first meeting and then there's a latency period where waiting, and it's always good for the student to reach out, follow up, because then that shows that they're enthusiastic and they're excited about the position. So I'm glad you talked about that.
Yeah, just
and experience always
helps too. Experience does help, and when we think about fall term's coming out, and you've probably heard the announcements. Everything is virtual, and so there's a lot on students' minds as to what is going to be available out there. What do you see on the horizon in terms of the next month or two of opportunities that students can kind of dig their heels into, jump on in, maybe something that might not be posted yet, but might be coming down the pipeline?
For us specifically?
Yeah, for StandUp for Kids.
So we are launching a new program. So virtual has brought us some opportunities, right? I was discussing with Ashley that our staff no longer has to drive 3 hours a day, and that gives them the opportunity to be in more schools or extend the amount of days that we do serve our youth in the school districts we're in. We are looking to expand into another school in Santa Ana, and it'll be a virtual experience. And so we'll need people to help our staff get that program up and running. So I see that, and then I know we had an overwhelming amount of people apply for the fall semester already. So they'll be broken out. We're lucky we have 5 supervisors on staff, so we have a little more bandwidth to take people. But I think that the move into Santa Ana will be the biggest opportunity that's coming up. Oh, and we have some events that PR students can, if they're interested in event planning, we need them. So they can help plan our fall event. We're going to do a national sleep out. So a sleep out event, and we need somebody to help coordinate that.
Okay, so working with a lot of these projects that are coming up, and Justine, I mentioned at the onset of today's broadcast that you've been a longtime partner of Cal State Fullerton. As far as I've been here, at least, I know we've been partnered with StandUp for Kids. Can you tell us a little bit more about how Cal State Fullerton students specifically have helped and contributed to the work that you're doing? I know you mentioned a little bit about the communications major student and the project that they did. Any other great stories for Cal State Fullerton students?
So, well, I've been here 14 years, and I think we started using Cal State Fullerton interns probably a year or two before I even started. So it's been a really, 14 to 16 years that we've been working with students. My personal experience is they're like, we were all volunteer run when I started, so they were the staff I didn't have, right? And I was able to teach them what I learned from my business and my schooling, right? Um, I think that, gosh, I I think that what they've brought to the table is, they've allowed us to expand, right? So more than just programmatic things that they've helped with and videos and, getting a raising awareness for us, they've they've actually helped us to expand our services throughout the county. We started, when I started, we were in Anaheim. We had one street outreach team. So they have actually helped build this chapter to what it is today. And when I started, I think our budget was $30,000 a year. Our budget is almost $600,000 this year.
Wow.
So we have grown substantially, and we're in most of the major cities in the county. So I attribute the support we get from our interns. They have a direct correlation to our growth because we don't have staff. We have, for our whole chapter, we have 6 staff members. And 3 of those staff members just started last year.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a
So there,
volunteer for about 8 years.
so there's a national, and then there's these local chapters, and you guys are certainly have your hands cut out for you in terms of the work cut out for you right now, because there's a lot of need in these communities that we have here in this area. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself very briefly? This is a wonderful kind of heart effort here. What led you down the path to come here with Stand Up for Kids?
Absolutely. So I own my own business, and my husband owns a business. I have been a book. Own a bookkeeping service for small businesses, and I've done that pretty much for 25 years. And I felt like it's the type of I make great money, and I felt like I wasn't making a contribution to, like, I could get up in my pajamas with my eyes closed and do my job, right? And so I wasn't meaningful. And I love youth, and a pastor at church actually inspired me to go back to school and get some kind of credentialing. And so I started just wanting to go for my associate's degree, and I said, I'll try human services. And so I did that at Saddleback, and I finished my associates, and I right away applied for my bachelor's. And I had 2 boys in high school, and they had a 5-week accelerated class for your bachelor's degree. And so I wanted to be a marriage and family therapist,
Mhm.
but realized I didn't have boundaries and that were solid enough for that. And I didn't want to be in a clinical setting, right? And so I have really good boundaries now, but it took, because I used to be the type, before Stand Up for Kids, I was the type of person through my church, I would bring people home. Oh, you need to somewhere to stay, you can stay here. So when I say boundaries, it doesn't have to do with the kids, it has to do with just the way I live my life, right? And so I went back to school, got my degree, and I started interning here 14 years ago, right? And I just never left because it wasn't a big nonprofit. There wasn't a lot of red tape. I could apply my learning directly. We didn't have case managers back then. We did street
Mhm.
outreach. So I got to grow the chapter through the education I received and implement all those things. And then my staff, 3 of them were interns that I hired. And so I have this I know what a good internship looks like, and I want to help people reach their dreams, and that's kids, interns, and just about anybody, right? So that's how I got here, and that's why I say it's not for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
in nonprofits you don't make a whole lot of money, but it's a passion for the kids.
Right. That's such an impressive path. And I think a lot of what you were covering is exactly what makes academic internships such a great opportunity for students. Because, I mean, what you said earlier is experience is great, but it's not what gets you in the door. It's your passion, it's your personality, it's your want to be there. And then through the experience that they have, especially with Stand Up for Kids, it can lead you towards a path of something that you're very passionate about, just like yourself. So if there's students out there looking at, there's internships, and if you're just like Justine, you can go from an intern to an executive director in just short amount of time.
But and you do bring up a great point, because I like how you talk about besides the experience, there's the passion. We have a saying is that if you lead with your heart, your hands will follow. Because there's a lot of students that listen to and hear about and know of opportunities, and they don't seek it out. It's the proverbial "I am not ready" mentality, right? They're like, I'm just not ready. But what you demonstrate for us, and I think for our students here, is that if you are led by your heart first, which is the right intent, the sincere desire to want to make a contribution, your hands, which are your skill sets, that will come in time. All you got to do is take that step out. What would you say to our students right now if they're kind of thinking the same thing? I'm not ready. I don't have the skills. What would you say to them that they will gain by way of skill set by coming and working and interning with Stand Up for Kids?
So if I understood you correctly, I would say to anyone, follow your heart. And so like a good leader doesn't know everything, but they surround themselves with people that know what they don't, to come together and lift each other up, right? So don't put off today uh, till tomorrow what you could do today. That's one thing I've learned. I'm a little older, so follow your dreams, follow your hearts, and make it happen. I'm out to make memories, not dream dreams. So if you're that type of person, just take that chance.
I like that. And what it sounds,
Believe-
based on what you're telling us from the breadth of internships that you do have, students are going to learn how to eventually grow into their leadership potential. We always believe students have the potential to lead, and oftentimes we don't realize the influences we really do have on those around us. They're going to learn communication skills. Sounds like they're going to learn a lot about planning and policy. And most importantly, they're going to learn
Yes,
about very critical social issues that are very dominant and prevailing today.
yes.
All right. Well, gang, those of you that are watching, if that's you, you can find more about Stand Up for Kids. You can certainly go to their Facebook page. Their Facebook page is at SUFKOC. And you can contact Justine at her email address if you're interested in applying for the internships at justines@standupforkids.org. And certainly you can go to Titan Connection. They're right there. We just gave you a quick walkthrough. If you have to, I do recommend you go back and review the video. But you're going to find virtual internships, and Justine's internship is there with Stand Up for Kids. You've met her here. I would love to see you actually connect with her virtually. And maybe as we get out of this COVID-19 work at home experience next year, you get a chance to see her in person and really see the extent of the impact that you can make as a volunteer and as an intern there with Stand Up for Kids. Well, Justine, it was our pleasure to have this conversation. I wish we had more time, and gang, I wish we had more time with you here on Facebook and YouTube in our community conversations. It's been I felt, exciting month in July, but like I mentioned at the onset, stay tuned. Ashley and the team at CICE, they're going to have some fun opportunities planned for you, not just in social media, but more importantly, for academic internships through Titan Connection. Check back daily. If you're a student right now and you're wondering, gosh, I don't know if there's going to be an opportunity there for me, contact us at cice@fullerton.edu. That's our email address. You'll see it right on the screen right now. You can also reach us via phone. That's still working. We do have people still on the phones, 657-278-3746. And if you haven't already liked our Facebook page, go ahead and do so at cice.csuf. And if you're on Facebook but didn't know about our YouTube, you can find us on YouTube at fullerton.edu/CICE/YouTube. Ashley, any last thoughts for our audience today?
Thank you for everyone who's tuned in with us. I hope you have taken away a lot of great things from the partners we've been able to have on. We appreciate their partnership so much and the time that they take to be able to share all their opportunities with you and also host all these great opportunities with you, especially transferring over to the virtual environment. So I hope you've enjoyed everything that we've had to offer thus far. And like Andrew said, stay tuned for what's to come because there are a lot of exciting things coming up for CICE.
Absolutely. Until then, gang, stay safe, be healthy, and happy interning. Take care.